Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a stack of sources that focus on what's claimed to be a pretty large-scale security service operation.
That's right. And this material, it paints a picture of, uh, well, a significant event, one reportedly happening far, far behind the usual front lines.
Right. So our mission here is pretty clear. We want to dig into these sources and understand exactly what they're telling us about this specific operation. It's reported to have targeted strategic military assets deep inside another country's territory.
hmm
We're really here just to pull out the key bits of information, the sort of knowledge nuggets these particular documents offer up.
Exactly. We're taking what these sources present, laying it out for you, and highlighting the details and, the perspective they really emphasize.
Okay, let's jump right in then. So, according to these sources, we're looking at a large-scale operation. It's described as, well, unprecedented and unique, apparently carried out by Ukraine's security service.
And they even give it a name in the sources, Spiderweb, a Sirza, Ukrainian.
Spider web. Okay.
What's really fascinating, I think, is the scale and the claimed coordination. The material states the operation involved simultaneous strikes,
Simultaneous.
yes, against 4 separate military airfields, all deep inside Russia.
Wow. Simultaneous strikes across multiple major locations like that. That immediately makes you pause, doesn't it?
It does.
What specific airfields are actually named in these sources?
Okay, so the sources list 4.
Yeah.
Belaya, Dyagilevo, Olenya, and Ivanovo. And these are described as bases that house Russia's strategic aviation assets.
Strategic aviation.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the claimed result then of these simultaneous actions? The sources make a pretty striking claim about the number of aircraft hit.
Yes, they do. Reports indicate a total of 41 aircraft were hit as a result of these drone strikes.
41. That's a very specific number highlighted in this material.
It is.
Do the sources specify the types of planes? What was allegedly involved?
They do, yeah. Several types of strategic aircraft get named. The A-50, the Tu-95, the Tu-22M3, and the Tu-160.
Those are definitely significant assets, particularly, the Tu-95 and Tu-160. They're the well-known strategic missile carriers.
Right.
And the sources connect this to a sort of larger claim about the impact on strategic capability, don't they?
Yeah, if we look at the bigger picture presented in the material, the sources claim this operation resulted in hitting 34%.
34%.
34% of the strategic cruise missile carriers located at Russia's main basing airfields. That's the specific claim.
34% of strategic carriers at main bases, based purely on these accounts. That percentage, as reported here, certainly points to a claimed significant impact on a really critical type of asset. And the sources also put an estimated cost on the claimed damage.
Yes, the estimated cost for the affected strategic aviation, it's stated to reach over $7 billion US dollars.
Over $7 billion. That's the estimated cost according to this material.
Okay, so we've got the claim scale, the specific targets, the aircraft types, the reported impact percentage, and an estimated financial cost.
Yeah.
Given this claim scale and impact,
Yeah.
how long do the sources say this complex operation was actually in the works?
Well, the head of the security service is quoted directly in one source. He says they prepared this specific operation, Spiderweb, for over a year and a half.
Over 18 months.
Yeah.
Over 18 months of preparation, according to these accounts.
Yeah.
That time frame, it suggests, well, significant planning and resource allocation.
Definitely.
And do the sources mention specific logistical challenges involved?
Oh, absolutely. The head of the service reportedly highlighted that the operation occurred simultaneously across 3 different time zones.
3 time zones.
Yeah, describing it as super complex from a logistical standpoint. You can imagine the synchronization required across such a vast area that's really emphasized. Simultaneous across multiple time zones, prepared for over 18 months.
Okay, now here's where the details provided get, well, particularly unique, I think. How did they reportedly execute this? The deployment method described sounds quite unusual.
This is maybe the most distinctive detail offered up in these sources, yeah. They claim the process involved, first, transporting FPV drones into Russia,
Okay.
followed by mobile wooden houses.
Mobile wooden houses. Did I hear that right?
Yes, mobile wooden houses. That detail certainly makes you lean in, as you say.
Right.
According to the sources, once these drones were inside Russia, they were hidden under the roofs of these mobile wooden houses, which were then placed on cargo trucks.
So hang on. The claim is they weren't launched from, say, somewhere near the border,
Hmm.
but transported deep inside Russia on trucks, disguised in little houses.
That is precisely what these sources describe, yes. The material then states that at the required moment, the roofs of these houses were opened remotely,
Remotely opened roof.
and the drones flew out to strike their predetermined targets, the Russian bombers. Wow, okay. Transporting the launch platform and the drone right into the operational area under that kind of disguise. That's a very specific and, frankly, audacious claimed method of deployment.
It really is.
What do the sources suggest this method indicates about the operation?
Well, it speaks directly to that level of reporting preparation and logistical complexity we mentioned earlier, doesn't it?
Right, the super complex aspect.
Exactly. The material frames it as an innovative way to overcome the challenges of distance and air defenses.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly to the stated rationale behind this operation as it's presented in these sources. They do address the legal aspect of targeting these kinds of assets.
They do. The sources frame these strikes as hitting absolutely legitimate targets under the laws and customs of war.
Mm.
They specifically mention military airfields and the aircraft base there,
The ones used in attacks?
the ones that they claim are used to bomb Ukrainian cities, yes.
So it's framed as a direct, lawful response targeting purely military infrastructure involved in attacks.
Precisely. The material explicitly states this is real demilitarization on their part. That's the term used.
Real demilitarization.
Yes, because they are destroying military targets used in what they describe as aggression against them.
And the sources also seem to convey a really strong sense of resolve, of determination. I think one source includes some particularly powerful quotes attributed to the head of the security service.
That's right, yeah. He's quoted directly. Stating the mission to destroy enemy bombers came from the president of Ukraine,
From the top.
and that the president personally controlled the operation's progress. It really emphasizes the high level at which the operation was reportedly conceived and managed.
And there's another quote, something about retribution.
Yes, he's also quoted saying, the enemy bombed our state almost every night with these planes, and today they felt firsthand that retribution is inevitable.
Retribution is inevitable. Strong words.
And there's one more quote, actually, attributed to Lena Kostenko, a famous Ukrainian poet, shared in one of the sources. It kind of encapsulates the broader sentiment presented.
What does it say?
It reads, "They thought that Ukraine is so simple. Ukraine is super. Ukraine is exclusive. All the rollers of history have passed over it. All kinds of tests have been worked out on it. It is hardened to the highest degree. In the conditions of the modern world, it has no price."
Powerful imagery. There's definitely a clear message of unwavering determination woven through these sources, stating they will respond to Russian terror and destroy the enemy everywhere at sea, in the air, and on land. And if necessary, we will get them even from under the ground.
Yeah, these quotes really reinforce the stated purpose and let's say, the operational philosophy of the planners, at least as it's presented in this material we've looked at.
Okay, so let's recap. We've pulled out the core details that these specific sources provide about this claimed spiderweb operation.
Yep. We heard the claims of simultaneous strikes. That specific number of aircraft reportedly hit the figure of 41.
Right.
The types of strategic planes involved, and that stated estimated cost reaching over $7 billion.
And the sources also detailed that claimed extensive preparation time over a year and a half. The logistical complexity emphasized as super complex, and that particularly unique method reportedly used for drone deployment.
The mobile wooden houses on trucks.
Transporting them on trucks, hidden under roofs of mobile wooden houses deep inside enemy territory. Quite something.
And they highlighted the stated strategic significance, didn't they? Connecting the claimed impact to that 34% of strategic cruise missile carriers at main bases.
And framing the whole action as legitimate demilitarization under the laws of war.
Exactly.
And finally, we got a clear sense of the declared resolve and the perspective behind the operation, including those powerful quotes shared in the source material, emphasizing the inevitability of retribution and Ukraine's resilience.
Yeah.
So, drawing solely from the picture painted by these sources, what does this all mean for understanding the claimed nature of actions like these? This deep dive gives you the specific details reported right here.
And maybe here's something for you to consider as you process this material we've discussed. The sources claim this operation reached far, far behind the front lines. They claim it involved complex, long-term preparation and this particularly unique, almost deceptive deployment method.
That combination of claimed factors.
Right. What does this combination, based purely on the narrative presented in these sources, suggest to you about the evolution of tactics potentially being employed? and maybe about the potential for future unexpected operations, targeting deep within an adversary's territory. Something to think about.